Hello and welcome to our weekly wisdom interview series. I am so excited today because I have a very special guest with me who has been an amazing person for me this year. We have gone through some things together and written a book together, and she has just been incredible. And I've learned so much from her that I had to bring her on and have her share her knowledge with you all. So let me tell you just a little bit about Janet Ickes. So she has over 20 years of corporate experience in accounting and payroll fields. And those of you who know me know I say I'm a recovering CPA. So we connect on this like accounting level sometimes that other people are like, what the hell are you talking about?
Exactly.
Janet has developed a knowledge and expertise that she has shared as she's helped staff navigate through several company mergers and system conversions, and her direct yet calm, hands-on training approach encouraged creative options within the system boundaries to meet the needs of the employees and staff. After leaving her corporate career, she realized that she could utilize that same training approach to help others know where their money went so that they can decide going forward where it will go in the future. But it's up to you. Money doesn't spend itself. And I know I'm live here on my Facebook page as well as my Inspired to Resign group. So I have to acknowledge you as someone who got inspired to resign and start your own business. And I can't wait to hear a little bit more about your story and have you share it with others. So share how you got started with your business.
Well, thank you so much, Tammy. It has been a true blessing for our connection and this journey as we have continued together. And I'm not sure what twists and turns are ahead, but I am just grateful that we are doing it together. So thank you once again. And after leaving corporate America, I got a little burnout in corporate America, I'll be honest. And I know you understand that all too well. Those lovely 50, 60, 70-hour work weeks get to you after a little while. And you still have to do everything else. And it's like, it didn't have enough flexibility for me. I also am a Mary Kay consultant, so I've owned my own small business for the last 20 plus years as well. It was always alongside of my corporate career. So initially I thought that I would go ahead and just become a Mary Kay director, and that was going to be the full thing, and the Lord had other plans for me. Because I was out networking, I learned that these numbers like flip people out a lot of times. And these small business owners that I was connecting with, my business was growing, which was phenomenal, but they were frustrated. They were stressed. They were just like, when I start talking numbers, they were like, ugh, deer in the headlight looks. And that's not okay, because I knew it didn't have to be that way. So what I found is what I had done for so many years in corporate, I was blessed to be able to train a lot of things. We did several system conversions, and I found I liked it. Okay, I'm not normal. It's okay. But I enjoyed that part of it because we had a system to work with and it could be better. And I would work with the staff. I would work with, what boundaries we were stuck with, because whether we like it or not, every software, every, system has a couple of boundaries you got to work with, but we could be creative within it. And that's what I ended up launching. It's Time to Excel, because there is an opportunity. You can have possibilities if you're willing to find them. And of course, the Blue Diamond has always been, challenges are every day. My goodness, we're in the middle of that mess right now, horribly. And you know what? It's okay, because through pressure, through stress, what can come out of it? Think of a piece of coal. What comes out of that is a diamond. So the choice is yours. And I found that what I had been doing in corporate America for all of those years, those 20 years, and plus coupling with my small business experience, was a great opportunity to share with others. So that's where Excel with me came from.
I love that. And I love your play on it, because I mean, you are definitely a shining diamond in the light of so many people.
Thank you.
And the play on Excel, because those of us from corporate, and especially those of us who have worked in integrations and system conversions,
Excel is a second language.
It is. And so, but it is time for everybody to excel. And I love, being able to have you showcase this. Well, I know you have a specialty in helping people. I mean, you've got a couple. And so, you are a system guru when it comes to business startups and helping them get started. And so I want to recognize you for that as well. But tell us a little bit about why it is so important to understand where your money's going.
Absolutely. And I think too many people don't realize that. So I'm going to have you just envision this. Let's think about a house for a second and kind of see, we're going to build a house. Okay, why not? If we start with the roof, okay, every house has a roof on it. That's great. But what supports the roof? The walls, right? Your walls have to support that roof because otherwise the roof is not going to stand on its own. I think most people could agree with that. But beyond that, let's put those walls in there. But let's also think about the foundation that's underneath that house. Because, one of the parables in the Bible is you have a wise man and a foolish man, and they chose to build either on rock or on sand. And that's your same choice in your business world. You can choose what foundation you're going to build it on. So if you do not have a solid financial foundation when it comes to knowing where your money's going, you're building that house, your business, on sand. And when these storms come, and they're gonna come, let's face facts. Looking at today's world, my goodness, they came with a complete torrential downpour. Looking at that, if you don't have a strong foundation, your business cannot withstand it. You're going to be more stressed. If you don't have a strong understanding where your money's going, when you need to come up and unexpected taxes, that I hear that a lot. It was like, wait a minute, you're surprised. Wait, if taxes means you're making money, this is a good thing. But you didn't realize you needed to pay the tax. Wait, something's wrong with this whole picture. And that goes back to not having that solid foundation. So as the money's coming in, if you're making a solid foundation and solid money decisions, you will not be stressed out. You will not be going crazy when it's time to pay those bills. You can have a growing business, and that's phenomenal. But if your bank account isn't reflecting that, and when you go to pay bills, there's nothing there, there's some things that need to be changed. There's some things that foundation needs to have a little bit more solid rock to it, shall we call it. And that boils down to actually knowing where your money's going.
Yes, absolutely. And this is so critical. I mean, I think especially people starting businesses. I mean, especially those people coming from corporate and starting a business, because I think they're just so used to this consistent income coming in, and it just goes in, it kind of goes out the door, and you get to a certain income level and you stop worrying so much about where that's going. And it depends on your personality type and your, how you handle your money as well. But it's, I see that so many times, and, it's not that you're not paying attention, but you're kind of, everything's on auto pay and everything's just going, and it's just so easy. And when you start a business, you have a lot more expenses that come in
that you didn't expect.
Yes.
I can say unexpected, but I caution saying unexpected because they're just inevitable. It's part of doing the business, but you've got to be prepared.
Right. But you don't know what you don't know when you're starting.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like they're unexpected for those people who have never had a business, because they don't know what they should be spending their money on, which I think is another issue. And so that's so critical things. And I can go down a rabbit hole with all those things. But
we both could.
What do you see as the number one reason that people struggling with their money?
I think because they don't have a system in place to track it. I really do. Without tracking it, and you've got to write it down. I know it's cumbersome. I know it's frustrating, especially if you don't like numbers, but there are different options. If you are not being willing to track your numbers, track your money, you will never be able to wrestle it in and understand where it's going, nor can you plan, because it all goes back to that foundation. And the foundation when it comes to money management is the tracking. It can be as simple or as complicated as you'd like it to be. The good news is it doesn't have to be complicated. There are various options out there. Part of it is take an opportunity and talk to some folks, get a chance to see, but you've got to get a system in place that's going to track it. And when I say track it, I mean every penny. And I know that flips people out, but you've got to know exactly. And you've got to if you're running a small business, you've got to have your business and your personal accounts separate. They cannot be commingled. So you've got to track it, but you've got to track it on its own piece of it, not personal. And it is business or it is personal. Yes, there's ways to crisscross it. It's a little bit of accounting knowledge, but you've got to make sure it's tracked.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so critical. And so share with us just a couple of steps that people can take today in order to figure out where their money is going.
Absolutely. Let's go back to that tracking. Let's start there. I mentioned it can be as complicated or as, simple as you want. My goodness, pick up one of these and a piece of paper if you have to. That's a step. Yes, it may drive some nuts, but you know what? You've got to start somewhere. So by simply just taking that first step of finding a system to track your money. So whether it's pen and paper, whether you use a Microsoft Excel for a spreadsheet or even Google Sheets, pros, cons, it doesn't matter. Do something that's going to work for you. Or you can even do a software program such as QuickBooks Online. There are different, for whatever level of business you're in, there's different options that are out there. So that would be one of the first things, is get that system in place to get there. Once you get the system in place, the next thing you got to do is you're going to have to start creating, and I know it's a crazy word, and I always say it's a 4-letter word, and people argue with me, is you got to start making a budget. And yes, it is a 4-letter word. And yes, I will fight that all day long. Maybe I spell it differently. Maybe I spell it as plan. You've got a plan where your money's going. So as your money's coming in, as your money's going out, that's all a budget is. A budget is a plan. So that's the second thing that you can do, is you can start planning. Once you're tracking it, now you can start. So now we're building that house from the foundation up instead of the opposite direction. Once we get that plan going, then we can start creating reports. And there's some key reports, which we're not going to get into today, but stuff like a profit and loss or a balance sheet. I'm just going to throw names out there, but that's okay. But profit and loss is pretty straightforward. So let's just look at that. You need to know whether your business is going to be profitable, which means you brought more income in than expenses, or if you had a loss. And you're going to have ups and downs no matter where you're at. There's going to be good months, bad months, but without those reports, you have no idea. With the reports, you can start seeing trending. My husband has always been on a roller coaster paycheck. I was that salaried employee that got, same old, whether I worked 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, or 70 hours. His was more cyclical. And we were in Pennsylvania, and it was up and down because he drove coal truck. And with that, it's extremely cyclical. It's extremely dependent on the weather. It's extremely, so there's so many factors. So we had great months and not so great months. It was like feast or famine. But because I had a budget in place, it didn't matter. Good months. Now he had a little issue because he would hey, I want more money when I'm making more. That's okay as long as you're getting none when you're not bringing any in. He opted, and even 30 years later, we are still working on that same system. We agree to a certain amount and we work it because I'm planning. And I can plan because I've tracked. So those are the things that I would just encourage. Track it, get that system in place, take the opportunity to start planning or creating that budget, and then start building in the reports so that you know exactly, even if it's business or it's personal, you need to know whether you're bringing in more money than what you spent. It is the only way that you're going to be able to sustain growth. And then that'll allow you to plan for the unexpected things are inevitable in my world.
Yes. So much of it is inevitable too. And
it's common.
yeah, for sure. And I was in a similar situation with, my husband's a business owner as well. And so when he was first starting, it was the ups and downs, and you never know, and big expenses come in, and, his AC just broke. I mean, we share an office now, so it's, I guess, our AC system. Our AC system broke down 2 weeks ago. We had to get a whole new unit, so there's all these things that come up when you're the business owner, and, these things that you don't necessarily always plan for, that you've got to build in. You've got to have that cushion or some way. So I know that you are an expert in this, and that you are amazing at doing this and making it easy. So what do you have that can help our people today that are listening?
I would love to share. I have a guide that I put together, and it's just 7 ways to discover money you didn't know you had. So 7 things you can do today to start figuring out, you mean I had that money there? How do you figure it out? So I do have a guide. I'd love to share that with folks. It's just my gift to you. Get an opportunity, to just check it out and see if it can help you to excel as well and start building that foundation of success, which we're all looking for, whether that's business or personal. So if I can put that in the chat after, or I guess under the share, I'll go ahead and put that in that link there, and feel free to go ahead and grab that and take advantage of it, and give me some comments on it too. Would love to have that as well.
Yeah, awesome. That is so helpful. Definitely go and grab that. And if you are listening and watching us, feel free to put some comments in for Janet, ask her some questions. We may not get to them on the live, but she will definitely go back and look at them and answer any questions you may have, because I know, especially for you just getting started in this business and or wanting to make that shift from corporate to I say corporate to cash, but corporate to
It
cash
is.
your business. Because if you do it the right way, there is cash involved, right?
There is.
That's where, Jenna can help out. I can help answer questions. So if, type them in. If you have questions, comments, let us know. And definitely go grab her freebie. We will get that posted in just a minute here when we wrap up. I want to thank you, Janet, for being on. This has been so fun interviewing you and sharing this journey with you. And I know you have a book coming out soon.
Yes.
So it is called
Money Doesn't Spend Itself, So Where Did It Go?
Awesome.
So I would love that. Yeah, they're scheduled to be out in October. And I think we are both very excited about that as this book launch continues, and that we are able to, really help other folks to make a little bit easier for them on their journey, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we do, right?
It is, and we enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. I hope you got a lot out of this, because this is so important for your life in order to, whether you are still working in corporate or in a business, it doesn't matter. This is one of the critical things that you have got to understand and know how to manage. So thank you, Janet, for being on with us and sharing your expertise.
Have a good day.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you on Thursday.